as you look at the market, I mean, you talked about the big guys really, kind of being on the front end of this, the Targets, the Walmarts, but, there's so many other players out there, say $1 billion and above as an example that just don't have the resources to do that on their own. But yet this is a fundamental problem now because the consumer has shifted to the degree that we've talked about. Like, how do you think about that question into relation to what they have in front of them? Like, what are your thoughts as an expert on how to go about looking at that?
Yeah, I think it's a lot if you try to think about it all at once and try and figure out how do I get there from here. So I think you have to break it down. And I think the easiest way to do it is to break it into sort of a functional bucket and a technical bucket.
Okay.
From a functional bucket, I think let's focus on centralized promising first. Do I have that inventory visibility? Do I have the ability to change the views and see what I need to see so I can make a good promise? Do I have the ability to optimize after I've made the promise to make sure that I'm, the sort of the second level is getting the best cost value for my company once I make that decision. So, and then the third one is the one we just talked about, and that's acceleration of promising, right? So don't try to bite off all of it at once. You can go in chunks and do it. You can grow into it.
And they stage that way, like it ladders like that, Chris?
It depends. Okay. I mean, it depends on the platform you're going to look at and the solution you're going to look at. I would say, regardless of what choice they make from a software platform, from a vendor selection, make sure that they can get to those three things. Now, they may be able to get all three at once, right? Depending on how they move to the platform. But most retailers, most retail organizations don't have the luxury of doing a complete big bang move for all their systems. And so they're going to have to add and deprecate and add and deprecate. So they want a future system that's going to allow them to be able to extend and use existing legacy technology and then deprecate it when they need to bring in new one. And that really kind of leads us to the technical side of it, which is invest in a future system. Invest in systems that are designed and built to be run natively in the cloud. So cloud native architectures, 100% microservices, make sure they're extensible. And if all of those are in place, they should never need upgrading. So you should be able to get innovation on a regular basis that you can choose to take when you want, because it's just delivered on a monthly or quarterly basis that's coming all the time. And the advantage of that, really, if you put all those pieces together, and probably the most important thing for any retailer in 2020 and beyond, is agility, the ability for them to adapt and adjust. Think about it. When your stores get shut down, you need the ability to pivot and do something different so that you don't strand that inventory. And you may even have situations, we've had in situations where the same exact retail chain, let's say it was 100 stores, some stores are closed down all the way, some are halfway closed down, some are wide open, and your system needs to be able to adapt and manage that and help those take advantage of the inventory that's in those locations and turn on alternative choices like ship from store, curbside, pick up in store, and enable those pieces. And we had some retailers who had already moved in that direction, right? They were already invested in the future system. They weren't there yet from all the functional standpoints. And they were able to turn on some of these functions in a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks to be able to get them back up to speed and take advantage of that so that they didn't miss that. But it was because they were investing in the core infrastructure that gave them the agility to do that.